So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to the iPhone 16 versus the 16e versus 16 Pro versus 16 Plus versus 16 Pro Max. So in this episode, my aim is to talk about my experience with all of them and tell you which is best in each area. I've had all the regular 16s since over 6 months ago, since they launched, and the 16e for about a month now. So not super long with that one, but I already have my full review and takes on those. Let's talk about the best one for probably just the price, like getting the most for your money. I think that's the base 16 personally. Why do I say this? Well, it's because of a few reasons. Number one, it does have the camera control, which is what the pros have. It tends to feel pretty much like you're not sacrificing a lot from the pros besides the 60 hertz. Nice lightweight build. It also has nice curved corners, symmetrical dual camera on the rear. It doesn't sacrifice an ultra wide like the 16e. It has plenty of zoom for the average consumer, really good video quality, and generally just for the money, you're getting quite a bit with this phone. You're just not getting the 120 hertz, which stinks. I wish we had that, but we don't. But you do get an Apple A18 clocked in at 4.04 gigahertz, Apple Intelligence, visual control via the camera control, 8 gigabytes of RAM. There's no real sacrifices besides the panel. This phone is basically like a MacBook Air of phones. You know, MacBook Air doesn't have the ProMotion either, just like the MacBook Pro has a ProMotion. So kind of reminds me of that. To me, for the price, this is probably the best option. You don't really sacrifice too much, and the average consumer probably will love their iPhone 16. So that goes in the best price to value ratio to get things kicked off. Now, the next one is the best overall design. Now, overall, as in looks the best, there's no real sacrifices. For me, the one that balances this the best is the iPhone 16 Pro. Why do I pick this one? Well, because it has basically attributes for every one of these phones. So for me, that's why it goes in this category. It looks just like the 16 Pro Max, but it's smaller and more manageable. It has the same curvature as the base 16, but has the premium feel. It does have the thin bezels as the 16 Pro Max, but also in a manageable size. There's basically zero sacrifices with this phone right here. It doesn't have anything really bad. So for me, overall design, this one to me is the best. It's not too heavy. It's not too light. It's not too big. It's not too small. This to me goes number one for the design. That's probably the closest to the original iPhone 10 in terms of, like, if these were all the newer, back in that time, this would be like the modern day version of the iPhone 10. So let's go ahead now and head over into the next category, which is going to be the best display overall. And that one's going to go hands down to the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now, clearly it's going to have the best display because not only is it the biggest, it's the boldest, it's the brightest. Well, I mean, they're all pretty bright, pretty similar brightnesses, but still, this one just stands out as being the best display. Super razor thin bezels, huge panel where you don't even really tend to notice dynamic island too much because the screen is so big. This one just has really good accuracy, color. It's not too saturated, not undersaturated. It's just impressive. Anytime you use this iPhone 16 Pro Max, you're going to like really enjoy its panel, especially if you're a heavy user. But all of them do have similarly tuned panels, so they all kind of look similar. But this one to me stands out as the best overall. While it might not be the most functional because it's really huge, some people might drop this phone due to its size. Some people might not. Some people might have to use two hands for this size. It depends on your hand size. To me, it's the boldest, it's the biggest, it's the best, the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the worst display in the lineup, and that is the iPhone 16e. We have the old notch cut out. We do have 60 hertz, and we have probably the weakest brightness of the bunch here. So this one has the absolute worst display, the iPhone 16e, out of all of these. So I just wanted to point that one out. Now, when it comes to the best software experience, they all are running core similar software, basically the same thing across the board. But the iPhone to me 16 and the iPhone 16 Pro gives us the best overall software experience, I feel like, because iOS doesn't take advantage of the large screen. We don't have the ability to split screen multitask or anything like that. So I find when I'm using my Plus or 16 Pro Max, I'm not really gaining anything using those phones over these. You're just really getting a blown up version. So for me, iOS still feels designed for a smaller screen, And I do feel like these are a good balance between size and weight, and also having like really good one app at a time usability. So for me, these phones right here are the best to run iOS on, the base size 6.1, 6.3 size phones. These are also great over here for the big size, and obviously they sell very well. That's why they continue to produce them. However, when you go ahead and you just like open up an application, for example, let's go over here to App Store. Both of them, we'll go to today, set up out of there. You'll see you're not really producing more content per screen. So if I scroll down, you're dealing with a bigger size here, but you're not getting more content. And for some reason that keeps getting triggered, but you're not getting more content on this screen, even if I scroll up. So you see right there, the content stays pretty much the same. Yeah, you get slightly more, maybe. You can see my side down there, just slightly more, but it's really, it's not benefiting the user too much because that screen size doesn't really show much more content. You really get more content when you go to something like an iPad mini or any iPad for that matter. That's when you really start to see more content on your phone. Other than that, you're just looking up at a blown up version with a bigger battery in these larger phones. Now the best performance is going to go to the 16 Pro Max. This is the best performing phone here that I found out of all of them. Of course, that's why I usually run it in the speed test, because it represents this lineup the best. I do think it stands out and shines as an incredibly powerful performer. We do have phones now with the 8 Elite from competition side that are definitely beating it, but this still runs basically flawless for day-to-day performance. There's really no issue. Yes, the animations in my speed test tend to look slower, but this one tends to have good sustained performance throughout gameplay, polished applications. Developers definitely give it a lot of attention and focus with their updates, so you definitely see really nice performance on this phone. Yes, we do tend to see some stuttery animations from here and there. Depends on, like if the phone is has 1,000 apps open, you can see a stutter here and there. And also this phone has restarted on me a couple times, so it's not perfect. It's just not the most perfect performer ever, but out of the 16s, this thing's a boss, and it really does go toe to toe with some of the best competitors in the industry. And I think it's only going to get better as this successor comes out later this year in the iPhone 17 Pro Max or iPhone 17 Ultra, whatever they want to call it. They change the name, who knows, you never know. But it also has a really good GPU. The worst performer is the iPhone 16e with the weakest GPU, and also just doesn't feel as fast as the rest of them, just a little bit slower. But the 16e's regular single core performance actually can feel on the same level as the base 16 over there. So definitely the C1 modem is nice for battery life. So I do have to say that the 16e is a solid value for performance, but it's the weakest of the main iPhone 16 lineup here. It has the weakest GPU. So I'll put it over there for that. The best overall camera is a tie with the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max. You do have triple camera array here, and what's really nice about this year's 16s is that you don't have to sacrifice zoom. You get 5x on the base, 25 times zoom. So it actually feels more worth its price because there's no camera sacrifice as they did with the 15 Pro. So I'm definitely feeling what they're doing here on the iPhone 16 Pro. But I do think if you were just pure out for camera, I think the iPhone 16 Pro Max is the best choice, because if you're placing this on a tripod, you want the bigger screen for framing your shots and stuff like that. And if you're really serious about video, you'll like to see all of this space. In addition, you'll also like video editing if you have to do that on the fly on this bigger screen with amazing quality of these triple cameras. Now, the 16 Plus does offer a good value in camera, as does the base 16. However, the truth is that you are sacrificing out on some zoom and things of that sort, but the average user of this phone probably wouldn't care. These phones are still really solid values, even with their dual cameras. Not so much for the 16e with its single camera, missing out on the ultra wide, but you don't miss out too much with those base 16 models. But yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd go the 16 Pro, Pro Max, and the 16e would just be for people that just need basic camera use. That's how I would put it. Now, battery life across the board here has actually been very stellar for all of the phones in this series, but it's been specifically great to me on the Pro and Pro Max, because the Pro, while not as good as the 16 Plus in my experience, is very close. 16E is surprisingly, shockingly good for the actual price of this phone. The 16 is actually the worst of the bunch. It has the worst battery life out of all of these. But when I say worse, I mean worse compared to these. It's not, none of these are bad. These are all good. This is a great battery year. The 16 series is a great battery year. 16 Pro shocks me though for its size. It can get through more than a day. The 16 Pro Max can stretch into 2. So that one is huge. And the 16 Plus also can stretch into 2. So really strong battery life experience, especially across these three on the end, 16 Pro, 16 Plus, and 16 Pro Max, and shockingly good for the 16E, with the 16 being the one that I just wasn't super impressed with. Now, there's only one audio performance king, and that is going to be the iPhone 16 Pro Max. From an audio perspective, this one was shockingly bass rich. It was very loud for a phone and just definitely sounded the best. So if you're looking for best speakerphone performance, audio performance, you're going to want the iPhone 16 Pro Max. All of them do pretty good in the area of signal strength, 5G, and they all have emergency SOS and things of that sort, so that's really good. The 16E doesn't have a DisplayPort or MagSafe, so that's pretty lame. The rest of these do, and they all do support DisplayPort, so you can put these on a computer. It will just show the screen. All these can definitely do iOS updates really well. You get them all at the same time, so that's really good. But in conclusion, based on everything and which one to buy, I would say that the one that the best, I'll tell you the best for each person. The 16E is the best for the just basic of basic users. They really don't care about all the latest tech, modern iPhone. They want a modern iPhone, but they don't care about all these specifications. It's just not their thing. They just need a regular camera. They need a regular phone and be on with their day, on with their life. That's the 16E. That phone would be perfect for you. Also for somebody who's trying to gift it to somebody and they don't want to pay over $1,000 for a phone. The 16 is great for those of you who want something with a new iPhone feel, with that Apple Intelligence, with lightweight build, something that just feels fresh and new. Also, its design is very comfy to hold, smooth edges on the rear, feels good in the palms. This one is going to be perfect for you. You also can get by with this camera control button. That's a nice new feature. Visual intelligence, Apple Intelligence. That is just a great feature overall. Just this phone is loaded. It just doesn't have the promotion. That's just how I feel about the base 16, but I do think the base 16s do have the best colors. The iPhone 16 Plus is going to be for that person who wants a little bit more than the 16. They want a large screen, but they still have that same, I don't need all of the latest cameras. I just need good battery life, a big phone. Maybe you're coming from an older Plus, maybe you're coming from an older Pro Max with 60 hertz and you don't care about that promotion stuff. This can be a great option for you. In addition, you want longer battery life than the smaller phones. You want a big screen and you want it lightweight, because for this size, it's pretty lightweight. You might also like the teal color. That's really going to be personal preference. But I definitely think the 16 Plus has its place. However, it might be getting replaced by an Air coming soon. So we'll have to see if that news comes true. And now the iPhone 16 Pro Max, we already know who this one's for. After all these months, it's still holding true as the high-end phone, the tech enthusiast, the one who has to have the best of the best. Also, some people just want this because they want to flex. I have the best iPhone. I mean, it's a true thing that happens. So that's not why I bought it. I bought it because I like to play with the latest and greatest tech. But that is something that does hold true. A lot of people just want to show off that they have the best phone or whatever. That's a real thing. But really, pro cameras, top of the line, best resale, best battery life, best iPhone in terms of everything they could throw at it, you might love the iPhone 16 Pro Max. But for me, the one that's been my main phone lately is the only one remaining on this table, and that is going to be the iPhone 16 Pro. And why is that? Well, lately, I've been not really digging the annoying, awkward, reach of these wide, large phones. I've been enjoying this one-handed experience. It's been absolutely phenomenal. And I feel like the iPhone 16 Pro is striking the best balance. You probably were shocked by this answer, but lately this has been my favorite experience here. We do have smooth promotion, amazing camera, great battery life, easy size to handle. thinner bezels, which allows us to extend the screen without making the phone feel huge. I feel like this is the sweet spot right here this year, the iPhone 16 Pro. Although a lot of people are not going to call this the best phone, I do think it's probably the best in this entire lineup right here. Just because of, it just doesn't, there's just like nothing like with this, you got to deal with the big size. With this, you don't. With this, you got to deal with the lack of a camera. With this, you don't. With the 16e, you don't get the ProMotion. With this, you do. With the iPhone 16, you also don't get the camera. You also don't get the reduced bezels. With this, you do. This has something that each of these phones do not do. And that's why it's, to me, the best of them all. So let me know your thoughts. You do have a little bit weaker battery than the iPhone 16 Pro Max, but let me know your thoughts. Which one would you pick out of the iPhone 16 lineup? And if you guys found this video helpful, informative, enjoyable, and helped you out and make a decision, drop your comments down below in the comments section. If you like this format, let me know as well. Anyway, I'll catch you on the next episode. Nick here. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to be well and have a fantastic day. Peace.